All right, welcome into the College Football Roundtable. Got a big preview show tonight. Got my co-host Austin. Season's going to join us at some point. We're going to preview some games, give our upset picks, and discuss a little bit of last week's action with Austin. So let's go ahead and bring my boy on. What's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
It's Thursday.
That it is. One more day till the weekend.
Yeah, I gotta go. I ain't even told you this. I gotta go to Calhoun tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah,
I
I
thought
gotta go all the way up to Calhoun.
thought you were gonna put that off. That's not something to put off till Friday, man.
I know 9 is. I think I looked at it. It's like 8 hours and something round trip. It's,
Yeah,
we'll talk about this off air too, but it has me going straight through Atlanta.
that 8 hours could turn to 12 hours.
Yeah, I know. I was going to talk to you about that after the show because I'm like, I seen another route that goes different than Atlanta,
All
and
right.
that it's, but it's way longer.
Yeah, it might be worth it. We'll talk about it off the show though.
Yeah.
So
So let's get into. We got this segment we're going to start doing called "Empty the Notebook" because this is our first preview show together, and what it's going to be is just basically an opportunity for us to kind of just put last week behind us. I do a recap show Sunday, so I'm not going to add much, but it's really an opportunity because Austin doesn't do this recap show. It's an opportunity for him if there's anything kind of big from last weekend that he just wants to get off his chest and anything he can say. So what from last week? Is there anything from last week that just you want to talk about?
you know, obviously I could dive into all the games and things like that. Honestly, a week that didn't look great on paper. Minus a couple of key games, ended up being a pretty interesting week. Um, But I think for me, and we kind of touched on this a little bit already, but for me, it really showed, outside of Oregon right now, Oregon's playing pretty good football. But outside of that, nobody just looks dominant.
Mm-hmm.
There's some good teams out there, but you take the Ohio State Penn State game. Yeah, Ohio State's offensive line showed up, but where the heck's that been all year? I kind of look at Georgia. I expected Georgia to come out and, the way their D line played against Texas, 2 weeks ago, and the defense as a whole, it didn't look the same. Um, I just think it's just weird this year how much it's like we've begged for this for years, and now that it's here, I'm like, I don't know how much if I like it or not. I'm trying to find that one clear cut team. We thought was Texas, and then they just came out and got dominated by Georgia. And is that going to happen to Oregon eventually? I don't know. So that's really the only thing that stood out to me was just how I just don't feel like anybody is that dominant team right now. And I'm ready to see who steps up and finishes strong to take that spot.
Yeah, we actually talked about that Sunday. It really feels like Oregon is the I almost said Ole Miss. Oregon is the most complete. Most. I was looking at my Ole Miss notes and I was like, uh, seems like the Oregon is the right now at least is the most complete team in college football. I wouldn't say they're like the most dominant. I'm sure they have some weaknesses, but it just seems like they're playing like the most
I
complete
mean,
football right now.
does it though? Or does it seem like Indiana's playing the most complete football right now and everybody's just scared to call
Hey,
it?
hey, this show is an Indiana show, and we love our
Listen,
Indiana Hoosiers.
listen, they look great. I'm ready for them that they may get exposed, and I'm fully aware to accept that when it happens. But
Yeah,
right now, I mean, I think they could play with anybody in the country.
yeah, that's a good segue. Perfect. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but let's go ahead and jump into that one. Indiana
Yeah,
versus Michigan. Let's get to the
yeah,
preview. That
yeah.
was absolutely. You couldn't
I
draw it
like
up
it.
better.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
planned
we
that.
got Indiana versus Michigan, 3:30, Big Ten game. Um, like I said, we're an Indiana show here, man. We love Indiana. I've said it before to you on the phone. I've said it. I think I've said it on the show too, on previous shows, that I feel like if Indiana had a tiger or a crimson helmet or a UGAG on the helmet, they would be ranked a lot higher. Quite frankly, a lot of people are upset that they're ranked a little lower than Penn State. Because if you compare the resumes, it's really kind of similar. But I ain't gonna get into that anyway.
Yeah.
This game, Michigan just isn't having a good season. It's been pretty bad for them. But they're still a really talented team. So I'm really curious. I'll be honest. I'll go ahead and say it. I think Indiana's gonna blow them out.
Yeah.
And
well,
that to me would be impressive.
And you're going to hear me say this. I hate to say it, but you're going to hear me talk about this in every game we preview today. I think this week is really when all of these games are all about mindset and mentality. The playoff rankings came out. You got all the hype around what the brackets would look like. Teams found out if they would be put in or would be put out. How do you respond to that? I think this is a perfect trap game for Indiana. I mean,
isn't it crazy we're calling that a trap game for Indiana?
It is. You're right, but at the same time, I mean, Vegas has them 14.5.
Do they really? I didn't even look.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. They've got it at 14.5. So, I mean, like you and I talk about all the time, Vegas wasn't, they didn't build all those shiny lights by losing. 14.5 ESPN matchup predictor, 86.8% towards Indiana. So, I mean, I think everybody's kind of jumping on the Indiana train except for the playoff committee. But again, that'll all work itself out on the field. They have enough coming down the stretch with having to play Ohio State, and if it gets to that point, the Big Ten championship. So that'll handle itself. It's no big deal. But I do think it's a mentality week of, hey, we're in the playoffs. Hey, we're Indiana now. We're 9-0. How do you respond to that?
Mm-hmm. Who are you going with in that game?
I'm sticking with Indiana. I think the way they have not only won, but how they've won, how dominant they've played. I'm with you. Michigan's just been a little too inconsistent for me this season, and I'm going to ride the Indiana train till it falls off the tracks.
I am too, and I'm actually looking legit forward to the Indiana Ohio State game, which we'll talk about that when that comes. Yeah, I just think they're just a really good team, and I love their coach. Ever since that press conference, he said, "Google me." Anybody that has that kind of confidence to get up there and say, "Google me." Yeah, and I think something that don't get talked about with them is how legit their defense is played. A lot of the focus is on the offense.
Absolutely. I mean, what they dropped? Didn't they drop 10-0 this week? And we were kind of like,
yeah,
watch out, here it comes, and they didn't give up another point and scored 49 unanswered or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 40. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game though. I think it'll be fun to watch, and it'll be fun to see the reaction on Twitter if they win it big. All right, let's see. Let's go. You want to go? Let's go South Carolina Vandy.
Let's go.
Yeah, that one's dude. Is South Carolina the best 5-3 team in the country?
They're definitely the most feistiest 5-3 team in the country.
We said it. I remember watching them with you. I was at your house, and we watched the South Carolina Texas A&M game. I think it was me and you both said they just look so physical.
They really do. But hey, having to go into Nashville,
them Vandy Condors.
Listen, I think it's I don't know. I I I'm torn on this game. You got South Carolina coming off a big win last week.
Mhm.
A dominant big win. It wasn't a fluke win. You know, it was
Mhm.
they dominated that game. You've got Vandy. Um, you know, they're bowl eligible now, which I mean, sitting there at 6-3 with wins against Alabama. We've talked about it. I know every last week too. Missouri at overtime, 3 points to Texas. Like, how hungry does Vandy stay? I mean,
Mhm.
I think if Vandy plays up to their standard, it could get interesting.
Yeah, Sellers to me was really impressive last week. I still think he's got a long ways to go as a passer, but I mean, me and you were just marveling at the how his ability to break tackles and to get out of stuff. It's crazy at his size too. I think he's 240. I think he's like 240, 245, and he is
Yeah,
just like is so elusive. And to me, I think that'll be I'm gonna roll with South Carolina because I think Sellers with his legs and his ability to get out of the pocket. And I also just think they have a better defensive front. That South Carolina defensive front is nasty. It is nasty. I mean,
yeah.
and I think
No,
this is a really good team because this is a team that barely lost to LSU, almost beat Bama, and then went and beat Texas A&M. And yeah, I'm gonna ride with the Gamecocks. And I love Vandy, but I just think South Carolina is a better team overall.
giving up on Vandy, man.
I am. I'm giving up on it. Not for the season. I think they're gonna
No,
win at least one or two more, maybe. I hope
no.
Vandy gets to like 7 or 8 wins. But yeah, I am. And I'm a guy before the season. I predicted South Carolina go 3-9.
Really.
Yeah, I did not think they were going to have a good year at all. I thought Shane Beamer. I think I said I think Shane Beamer. This was going to be Shane Beamer's last year, and I think he just probably added more years to his life at South Carolina.
I don't disagree with you there, but where I do disagree with you is I think the goalposts are going to end back up in the Cumberland River on Saturday night, and Vandy's going to pull this win out.
That is awesome. Let's go, the Commodores. So we
I
disagreed.
yeah, I think if does worry me a little bit. I was looking at the line, and I know that's not everything, but I do pay attention to that just because, like we say, Vegas doesn't lose. It was 3.5 this morning when I checked it, and it's moved to 4.5 now. Um, but I don't know. I think South Carolina coming off the big emotional win last week, um, coming into Nashville, I think it's a perfect setup.
Yeah, I did too. And I mean, I don't. I'm going with South Carolina. I just had a brain fart. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a good one. It's that 4:15 time too. I don't know why they're doing that now this year. It seems like this is. I don't remember last year them doing this little 4 o'clock time slot. It's usually pretty, 12, 30,
12,
7:30 type
3:30,
deal.
7:30. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this little 4 o'clock slot is screwing me up.
Yeah, and I'm sure it has. What is the SEC network doing the 12:45 time slot too?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess I guess that's probably why they're doing the 4:15, because that game's behind starting at 12:45, and I imagine they're doing that to not compete with the big noon kickoffs, because typically
yeah,
the SEC game is the smaller of the game. So um, yeah, it's weird, but I kind of like it because it gives you something to watch while the other games are at halftime.
I do love that part of it. I do love that part of it.
Usually all the games are on halftime at the same time. So,
Yeah,
and truly, that may be why they do it. Hey, if nothing else, we'll gain good viewership during halftime of the other games.
yeah.
But
Yep. But all right, let's go. So we did Indiana, Michigan, South Carolina, Vandy. Let's go to the Holy War, which is one of my favorite and kind of underrated rivalries out there. These two teams really hate each other.
They really do.
Really hate each other, and it has even more to do than just football, which I won't get into. There's more to it than just football. They don't have a like for each other, and BYU's kind of riding high right now. They are, I think they're 9-0, squarely into the playoff, or 8-0.
Yeah, they're 8-0.
Squarely into the playoff picture and the Big 12 picture. Utah, which came in this season, Big 12 favorites and having a disappointing season. Utah's offense I'll just say it's just trash. It's real trash. The offense is so bad. The defense is legit. The running back is legit, but without Cam Rising, that offense is just not. It's not good at all. And I've been one. Oh, go ahead.
Cam Rising was there. It feels like Cam Rising's been there for the last 10 years. So.
Oh yeah. And did you see that there may be a possibility he could come back next year? Wild.
I did see that.
Yeah, that is wild. Well, I listened to this one podcast where they talk about how we got to put an end to these 8-9 year college football quarterbacks, and I agree with them. We got to stop it. But I'm one that's kind of been on the bandwagon of this is mainly came from the advanced stats guys, and I don't think advanced stats are the end all be all, but I have agreed with them on the fact that I don't think BYU's as good as the record indicates. I know that's controversial, but you know what? I'm riding Utah. I'm going Utah. I'm picking them to
Utah?
win. Yeah, I think Utah can muck it up. I think.
I don't think that's a bad pick.
I just think they can muck it up. Like I think they can muck it up and get BYU to play their game, and if they can do that, get kind of a little down and dirty playing a phone booth. And I did read something earlier that BYU does have a little trouble stopping the run. If they can just get the run game going, they may not need a passing game much.
Yeah, and two, you take a team like Utah, and I think like you said, missing Cam Rising, but there's still a lot of talent on that team, and they're coming off 4 straight losses, and there's nothing like a good rivalry game to kind of get the juices flowing again. When you're kind of down like that, to just get everything clicking. So. I don't like copying you all the time, but I was going Utah.
For the people, we haven't discussed these picks.
No, we haven't talked about them at all. But no, I think it's a perfect game. I'm like you. I don't think BYU is quite as good as their schedule says. Hate to keep harping on it, but we talked about mindset. Seeing yourself in those playoff rankings. Coming into Rice-Eccles Stadium at night, like that's again perfect setup for do you call this a trap game? I don't know. Perfect setup for a rivalry game though.
Yeah, it is, and I'm excited for it. It's I didn't even write the time. I had the times for the other ones. Didn't even write the time. Do you happen to know what time that one is?
2 seconds, I'll tell you.
I hope it's
10:15.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yeah, I thought it was the nightcap.
That's the perfect way to end the night. All right, let's go to. We're gonna go to the 2 big ones we saved for last, and we're gonna bring on a surprise. A guy that is a great guy, the football coach of the show, the man, the myth, the legend, Season.
Yes, sir.
Can I get a Roll Tide, man?
Oh man, no sir. No.
He ain't gonna do it. He ain't gonna do it.
Oh, man. Cat got your tongue?
How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great, bro. Doing great, man.
That's awesome, man.
Bro. I'm glad.
Yeah, we're glad to have you, man. You good to see. Got to get you on here to preview these big ones. Let's jump in that Ole Miss UGA. We'll save the LSU Bama one for last because I feel like that's the one that's most anticipated with everybody.
It is.
we'll go with you, Season. You want to give us your thoughts on Ole Miss, Georgia?
So man, y'all seen the injury report yesterday?
That was ridiculous.
We gotta start there.
That was ridiculous. Did you
That
see it,
was-
Austin?
Yeah,
Man,
I saw it this morning.
Ole Miss got like 17 players on it.
I think it was 26. Somebody counted.
I was just guessing. It looked steep. So we got to start there, man. I don't know if Lane Kiffin's trying to play with Georgia's minds right now, or if this is some legit injuries. But man, if he's rolling out without those players, man, I don't know if I feel too confident anymore in Ole Miss with Georgia. But you know, without Trey Harris, second leading wide receiver in the country, I feel like he's going to need you know, his playmakers for this game. But however, I will say that the offense still has, like, I feel like it's still serviceable enough to maybe fight and pull off an upset here. Jordan Watkins had 5 touchdowns last week against Arkansas. Jackson Dart's just playing out of his mind. So as long as Jackson Dart's still a true playmaker here in this game, I think he gives Ole Miss a really good shot, even without Trey Harris. But you know, I don't know about all those other injuries. I'm gonna have to keep up with that going in throughout the rest of the week. But man, those injuries concern me for sure before Ole Miss side of the things. Now, Georgia's defense against Florida, I feel like they still look good. I know we said they didn't look great, but they still look good. And I think Georgia's defense is still good enough here to slow down Ole Miss at times. But however, I will say this: Lane Kiffin's very motivated. I think Lane Kiffin's going to be coaching this game with like something to really prove. What's the stat, man, with Kirby? Isn't he like 47-0 against non-Alabama teams?
It's something crazy like that. I think it's like 40. Yeah, it's 40 something.
So that's another thing that we gotta keep an eye on. Will Lane Kiffin finally give Kirby an L here in this big matchup? You know, so I man, with those injuries, man, that concerns me. I think I want to lean. If I was a betting man, probably I think I would go with a safer pick and go Georgia here in this matchup. But I do think an upset could definitely potentially brew here in Oxford Saturday.
I'm with you. I actually just pulled it up, and I didn't know this till today. But the guy that we gave a game ball to last week, Jordan Watkins, it says he's doubtful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's doubtful.
That's
and
wild.
Same thing with Trey Harris, right? Isn't Harris doubtful?
Yeah. Harris is doubtful.
Pull it up on the screen, maybe.
Yeah. Actually, that would be a good idea. Let me pull that up. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Yeah.
Look at that, bro. Hold up, that was Oklahoma.
Wait, that's Oklahoma, Missouri.
1 second.
Yeah, I do think while you're pulling that up, I will say I do think that it is a mind game thing. I'll be honest, I think it's some mind games being played because I was just watching a show on YouTube, and it's an Ole Miss show, and the guy that said this, he's an Ole Miss beat writer. He had mentioned Lane is against doing the injury report. He hates it, and it wouldn't put it past him to be playing a little bit of some games because they do it again. I think they release another one. What is it, Thursday night or Friday? No, it's Friday night, ain't it?
They do a Friday night too.
It's Friday.
Yeah, I would, if I was a bet man, and I'm not. Well, I am on Prize Picks. We would love Prize Picks to sponsor this show, by the way. If I was a bet man, I would bet this is going to look different come Friday, like drastically.
Chop it down bad.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it will.
Man, they don't. I don't think they have a shot if they don't have Trey Harris and Jordan Watkins.
Yeah, that does changes things.
Yeah,
and
that's the 2 best receivers, dog.
Yeah. So, season's going. You going with Georgia, right?
Yeah, I'll take it safe. But that's what these injuries too, man. Like, I feel like if they healthy, I would probably lean Ole Miss maybe, but I'm concerned. That's a lot of injuries.
Yeah, so I think some of my thoughts, and I thought about it a lot today. When we talked back a couple of weeks ago, we talked the Texas game, and I picked Texas to win. But one of the things I didn't factor in on that Texas game was their lack of explosiveness. And Seasons mentioned this on the show before. Texas is kind of a dink and dunk offense, a lot of behind the line of scrimmage and stuff like that. The one thing that I think is an advantage for Ole Miss is they're not that they are explosive down the field, and Georgia's defense is really good at stopping the explosive pass. They wasn't against Alabama for the first half, but in the second half they did really good.
Yeah.
So that worries me a little bit on the Georgia side of things. The only thing that I keep coming back to is
I think
Ole Miss is. Oh, go ahead.
I think Temple too is probably going to cause Georgia.
Yeah, it always does. Yeah. But one thing I keep coming back to is Ole Miss is not good at running the ball. They're really one dimensional. And then you add in the fact I think Parrish is out.
That's another thing. Their starting running back and their 2 starting wide receivers are currently are projected out, basically.
Yeah. And so I think I think one of the things I do feel confident in with Kirby is if he can make you one dimensional, it usually doesn't end well for the other team. But the one thing that also worries me, I found this today, Beck under pressure in the Florida game. He was under pressure 11 times. He went 2 for 11, 29 yards, and 3 interceptions. When he wasn't under pressure, he was 23 for 29, 280, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
I wonder what kind of Beck we're going to get in this game. It'd be nice.
That's what it comes down to me is, honestly, what kind of UGA do we get in this game? Does defense come out dominant? If they can get the pressure on Dart with the front 4, kind of like they did with Texas, and like you said, keep them one dimensional but still put pressure on them. If they do that, like you say, with the injuries without their playmakers, and then on the other side of the ball, I feel like these are the obvious things to say, but at the same time, can Beck protect the football? I was just looking at the numbers. Jackson Dart has the same amount of interceptions all season as Beck had last week.
Damn.
He's not playing good.
11. What was it? I forgot to say. 11.
He's at 11 and 3. Beck has had 3 games this season with 3 picks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I'd be willing to bet if you go look at the numbers, those are probably the 3 best D lines he's played and had the most pressure on him those games. So
yeah, he's not good under pressure. Every statistic you look at, he just doesn't do good under pressure. And I'll tell you, a lot of people talk about the Ole Miss offense. I don't think they talk enough about their defense. If you look up any stats, advanced or just normal stats, this Ole Miss defense has done a really dang good job. And they do, I think they're like, I didn't write it down, but I think they're like top 5 in pressure rate. And that worries me for Georgia too.
They got 42 sacks on the year right now.
Yeah, 42 sacks, which is like near the top of in the country. So they're really good at getting pressure. That worries me a lot. I do think if ETN plays, and I think he does. I don't even think he was on the injury report. Season may have to look, but if ETN plays, I do think that could be a difference maker for Georgia if he can, because Georgia hasn't run the ball good. But he did really well in Texas versus Texas, and I think he was the difference maker on offense against Texas. This is what it goes down to for me, guys. And Austin knows this. Season may know this. I'm a big Lane Kiffin fan. I love Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
But this year, after that Kentucky loss, I'm just like, when are you going to do it? Like, when are you going to finally beat Alabama or Georgia? I always hype you up. I think you're a phenomenal coach. I think your offensive scheme is one of the best. I'm going to go Georgia. I don't trust Lane Kiffin. I don't trust, because if you look at the numbers when Ole Miss, other than the Arkansas game, their numbers against SEC teams versus those 4 easy non-conference, their stats are drastically different. They just have not played good versus SEC teams other than the Arkansas game. So I'm just kind of, with Ole Miss, I'm kind of like Georgia versus Bama. I need to see it. So I'm going to go the Dogs. But I do think it'll be close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. For Lane Kiffin, this is his national championship. So I do think he's going to pull out all the stops, but I don't think that
he's missing his dogs.
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to be enough.
Yeah, he's missing some dogs for real.
Fun fact though.
What's that?
Vegas has Georgia at 2.5.
Yeah, I saw that.
And fun fact though, the ESPN matchup predictor has Ole Miss at 54%.
They've had I've got beef with the ESPN predictor. They keep picking against
I wonder if they update that with the injuries or not, though.
I think they do because when I looked at it a couple of weeks ago, I'm not lying.
I feel like at full strength, Ole Miss probably could win for sure.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if Ole Miss wins at all.
I feel like they should be favored at full strength.
Yeah, I would agree there because Trey Harris is a beast.
The back too was pretty good.
Parrish, and then Watkins, who just had
5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns.
Yeah, and, they won't have anyone I don't know. It's not going to be as explosive.
Definitely. And we got to factor in the weather. I don't know if it's changed.
Yeah, I haven't checked on that, but yeah, I mean,
well, the hurricane's not coming. We know that it's turned drastically. It's going towards Mexico. Yeah, Texas and Mexico. Yeah, it's not even going to hit over there.
Okay.
Yeah, so but I did see today it was like still 70% in Baton Rouge. I only checked Baton Rouge. It was like 75% or something like that. But anyway, yeah, and also I think this is a big factor. One team is going to be out, and one team's still going to be in, whether they win or lose, and that's got to play a role in it because Ole Miss is literally playing for its playoff chances.
Yeah, they're back against the wall.
Yeah, backs are against the wall. This ain't gonna. Georgia could lose, and they're getting in at 10-2.
Yeah.
But Ole Miss has to win this one. So, all right, let's get to the massive one down in good old Baton Rouge, where Season will be at the game. His favorite game.
You going to the game?
Yes, sir.
He's a season ticket holder.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's a season ticket holder. Big money over here.
If there's one place on my bucket list is a night game in Death Valley.
Absolutely, you have to come, dog.
Oh yeah, Season's already told me he's going to pay for my hotel. He's going to pay for the food and for my ticket. So I'm going.
Oh,
no, he ain't said that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say free ride. I'm sneaking a suitcase.
Yeah.
Man, so game right here, but massive, huh?
It's massive. This is a playoff elimination for both teams, and I'm glad to listen to you two because one's a Bama fan, one's a LSU fan, and let's start with Season. Let's get your thoughts, and then we'll get Austin. I'll get mine at the end.
Yeah. So for me, I think I'm really curious to see what Blake Baker is going to do, defense coordinator for LSU in this one, especially with that bye week coming off of some really big issues against the running quarterback. I think that's the biggest key in this game. The matchup to victory is going to be if LSU can stop Milroe on the ground with his legs. I really think Milroe is going to copy. Alabama's going to copy that film a little bit and hit us with some draws, some counters, some QB misdirection a little bit with Milroe. And if we could tackle him off for 4 quarters, is going to be the key right there. Now our box is getting better each week. I really like the linebackers. Whit Weeks and Whit Weeks is gonna have to have a huge game like how he did against Ole Miss. I think he's gonna have to have like 15 tackles in this game for LSU to win. The weather's gonna be good. I think the defense has the opportunity to be fast and flying around. As far as the D line goes, we're gonna be rotating a good bit in the interior. Our defensive edges have been pretty solid this year with Braden Swenson and Savion Jones. I think they're going to hold down the edge. Alabama's offensive line is pretty good now. I am respecting their O-line in this one. In the outside, we got a good matchup with Ryan Williams versus Zy Alexander. I don't know if y'all been keeping up with Zy Alexander, but he's actually like one of the best corners in the league in college football this year. He's long, lengthy, 6'2". That's going to be an incredible matchup if he could slow down Ryan Williams, the dog on the outside.
Yeah.
I'm feeling more confident in our passing defense. If we could keep Milroe in the pocket, that's going to be another.
Defense isn't going to matter that much.
I'm more nervous. I'm more nervous about the ground against Milroe in Alabama. Yeah. Now Alabama's running backs don't really scare me too much. It's more Milroe. Their backs are kind of struggling, and like LSU in a way, I would say they kind of more physical and. They like to lower their pads and bounce runs to the outside, I noticed. So they kind of struggling, but Milroe is probably their best rusher, I would say.
Yeah, I'm going to say this because you just said this, and it was a good opportunity to say this. I found this today, and last night, if anybody watched the guest interview, he mentioned it also. On 90, let's see. designed run on quarterback runs and quarterback designed runs. LSU has allowed 6.5 yards per carry, which is the worst in the SEC. They've allowed 5 rushing touchdowns, which is the second worst. Yeah. And for the season, they have had 51 carries, 329 yards.
Now, the main weakness on our defenses are obviously our safeties.
Yeah.
And this is a big game for huge game for our linebackers in this one. I think it all falls on our linebackers' shoulders. That's when Whit Weeks and Greg Penn and a little bit of Major Burns in the box. They're probably going to bring him down a little bit at times. Now, Major Burns is going to he's not that good in pass cut. Our safeties aren't too good. If Alabama wants to like kind of take advantage of us in the air, maybe probably be attacking the middle of the field and hitting some of our safeties.
Yep. So you going LSU?
No, I didn't talk about LSU's offense versus Alabama's defense. Let's flip it a little bit. Man, what an opportunity for LSU's offense too in this one. They feed off the crowd. I know this LSU's offense. They play a lot tougher at home. I think Alabama's secondary kind of been exposable, I feel like, at times this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think LSU obviously is going to have established some type of run game. They haven't been running the ball effectively like how they really want to. Alabama's probably going to lock in on that, but I think they're going to have some keys and some matchups to pick through the passing game. I really think Nuss has a pretty big night. Now he's going to have to finish in the red zone. Obviously, that's going to be another matchup to look out for. But I think LSU's offense brings a little bit too much matchup issues and offensively for Alabama. I think LSU is going to score a few touchdowns. So I'm riding with LSU to pull it. Hey, here's another stat. Austin. We gotta talk about Death Valley too, man. This ain't and Nick Saban ain't coaching anymore.
Hey, so LSU. I think this is where we truly find out honestly the characteristic of both teams.
Yeah, they both got some flaws too. They both got some flaws.
They both do, but they also both have potential to be really good football teams.
I know.
And that's, honestly, you put either one of them in the playoffs and they have an opportunity to make a run. But I think this is the week we find out the characteristic of both teams. LSU kind of getting, they feel like they got shunned a little bit on the first playoff rankings coming out. They're technically on the outside looking in. Although they still control their own destiny. They win this week and win out, they're in. But how do they respond to that? Versus Alabama on the opposite side of that. They're the highest ranked 2-loss team in the country. How do you respond to that? I know Saban's not there anymore, but a little bit of rat poison in there. I just want to see how DeBoer has them ready to play come Saturday.
I think
I did too, but I also felt like his first real chance to prove himself. The Georgia game was it. That was a home game. I felt like his real chance to have a team ready to go play some football was against Tennessee, and they looked terrible. The score wise, that game looked close, but it was just sloppy. They weren't prepared. So I'm really curious to see, because there's not, you can say arguably, but I don't think there's a tougher spot to play in the country than Death Valley at night, particularly in this game. That's literally what I have circled. I mean, we can go through stats and defense versus
basically
offense. That's great, but
it's basically a pick 'em.
Preparation.
It's a toss-up, this game. It could go either way, dog.
It really could.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who needs this win more? Pug, you answer that since you're not biased.
I think
coach-wise.
Coach-wise. DeBoer, because if he doesn't win, Alabama's going to hang him. They're not. They're going to egg his house. They're going to TP it. They're going to damage his property. There will be mass uproar in the state of Alabama. I know LSU fans will get mad, but I think most LSU fans realize that Kelly's a good coach, and with the recruiting class he has coming, I think they're pretty satisfied with Brian Kelly. But I think DeBoer needs it the most.
DeBoer's class is creeping up there.
Oh yeah, he's got a good class too. I'm just saying, Alabama fans are. You know this. Alabama fans are not very rational after the Saban era, and I mean, come on, they want the guy to quit wearing a T-shirt, for crying out loud.
That's why we lost to Vandy. So
yeah. Yeah, so I think Bama needs it more. DeBoer needs it more just for his sanity and probably for his family's safety, to be honest. I'm joking. He don't. But, yeah, I think he needs it more.
Yeah.
But,
the L doesn't hurt us bad because it's already 2 losses on the season.
Yeah.
It won't hurt if we lose, too. That's another thing going into it. It's not too much. A lot of pressure, but it's not too much pressure at the same time. It's almost like.
And I think a lot of LSU fans, and Season can chime in on this too, is I think the reasonable LSU fans, we're talking about the reasonable ones. I think a lot of them didn't come in this year expecting to be like a national champion. I think a lot of them kind of expected probably another 9-3, 10-2 year. And they're looking more towards 2025 and beyond because of that recruiting class they're bringing.
We're looking for the future kind of LSU.
Yeah. And I think Bama fans being a little unrealistic, they're thinking –
now
keep this train rolling and not understand. But I agree with both y'all about the game. Yeah. I think I mentioned it. If I'm Alabama, I'm building the whole game plan on just Milroe running the ball. I don't know if they will, but that would be my game plan. I would just be like building it towards his legs and using it.
You got to think Blake Baker locked in on that all week during the.
That's what I was just about to say. That you got to think
you're gonna have to.
I think
you're gonna have to disguise it. I mean,
yeah.
I think that's something DeBoer's got to learn about coaching in the SEC is just because you've got a great player, you've got a great, whether it be your Milroe running or whatever. Take Ole Miss, they're great at passing the ball, and against the non-SEC teams, that works every time. But like you said, you play somebody who can make you one-dimensional, and you get dominated. And I think he's got to learn that. I think the UGA game was eye-opening. They dominated the first halves, and I think we went in at halftime like, hey, let's keep doing what we're doing. And it doesn't work like that. So it's easy to say we got to get Milroe running the ball, but it's not if we can get him. It's how we can get him running the ball.
Yeah, that's what I was more like kind of build a game plan towards some like doing a little bit mixed direction, stuff like that. Obviously you got to pass the ball, but like just using his legs a lot more.
See how he's going to look.
I think, the biggest thing I worry about with LSU is the run game. Me and Seasons talked about that. I just think when you're asking a quarterback to pass it, 40 to 50 times like they do with Nuss, you're just bound to make mistakes. And I'm a big fan of Nuss. I think he's going to be a top draft pick down the road. So Season picked LSU. Austin, you picked Bama?
Yeah.
Going Bama.
All right, so I'm the tiebreaker. Oh, man. Jesus. Oh, man. Okay. All right. This one has been tough. I've been kind of going back and forth all week. Last time I picked against LSU, Season threatened to kick me off the show. I'm joking. He didn't do that. And then I looked like an idiot because they won. And then I picked for LSU against the that big game they had at night, and they won. I'm going LSU.
Wow.
And it's only, and I'm going to do, I said this on the show last time with Season. It has nothing to do with any stats. It's got nothing to do with this matchup, that matchup. Baton Rouge is tough at night.
Honestly, that's what I'm leaning on too, though. To be honest,
you said it earlier. My biggest fear with LSU is exactly that. It's 100,000 LSU fans with 12 hours to pregame before they go into the stadium. I mean, we've seen LSU fans live. I don't know if you remember, Chris. We went to 2007, 2008. We went to Athens and watched UGA LSU, and I mean, these guys traveled, and they're out there with a 8-person beer funnel at 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, hey, y'all want some of this? Like, oh, man, we're good.
Yeah, we got into Athens, and it was nuts.
He's gonna set it off in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember me and Austin walking, and like there were. You remember that dude? He was holding the dude. Like they were holding him, and I'm like looking at my watch. I'm like, Austin, it's 8 a.m. These dudes are getting drunk.
Yeah,
and
so,
yeah,
that was a 3:30 kick. So we're gonna give them another 4 hours of drink going into this game. So
yeah, and Brian Kelly, I can't remember the stat. I didn't write it down. I think it's LSU. It might not be Brian Kelly. Was it 17-1 in night games?
Brian Kelly's 13-0 in night games right now.
13-0 in night games at Baton Rouge.
In Baton Rouge, I think.
Total. Yeah, in Baton Rouge.
True.
Yeah.
And we own a 15 home. We're going for 15 in a row.
And I guess with that, that's why I'm picking them. It's really got nothing to do with. I've made a rule that anytime LSU plays a night game at home, I'm gonna pick LSU, and it's strictly because of the night game atmosphere.
Streaks are made to be broken.
I don't blame.
That's right.
I'm sitting here talking smack, having a good time, but at the same time, if I weren't an Alabama fan, I don't know that I'd be picking them. I think this has the potential. I mean, I heard somebody say one time that our rivalry is not.
It could be one of those games where a team gets walked off, maybe, or like who has the ball last.
Yeah, the Alabama LSU rivalry is not a rivalry that was created off of hatred. It was created off of respect because we've played over the last 15 years. We've had some hell of games, and I think this one has potential to be that.
I think so, for sure. Fourth quarter game.
All right, so got our picks in. We're going to move on to our I don't know if Season's going to participate. He can stay on though, obviously. If you have one of those seasons, let us know. We're going to do our upset picks. I'm going to go first because I'm just scared somebody's going to steal mine. And we decided on the upset pick. We decided on the rule that it had to be, I think, 7 or 7.5 and above. Austin,
7.5.
7.5. Yeah, it's got to be. Above.
Yeah, and I'll let Austin go if you're looking to pick one. I am going Washington over Penn State. They are currently 14.5 dogs, or 14-point underdogs, according to ESPN Bet. I'm going Washington over Penn State. I think I don't necessarily believe I'm very confident in it, but I think it wouldn't shock me. So yeah, I'm gonna pick Washington over Penn State. What you got, Austin?
That's not where I thought you were gonna go a different route, man.
I was, but I don't know if Lagway's playing. So Season, I was gonna go Florida over Texas.
I was just looking at that one, dog. To
be fair, he said if Lagway plays, he's going Florida over Texas.
Hey, I wouldn't hate him for it. Well, Lagway looks scary against Georgia.
I'm gonna. My upset pick this week is about that mindset thing, and I thought it was going to kick in last week with the way they struggled, and it ended up not. But coming off a tough game like that, being ranked in the top 4 in the first ranking, I'm going Georgia Tech over Miami.
Let's go. That was my other one.
In Atlanta, Georgia Tech needs this. They've got Miami, NC State, and Georgia left. They've got to win one to get bowl eligible. I just think it's the perfect setup.
Yeah, and I'm gonna so next year this is gonna be a lot more funner. But I think we only got like 4 weeks left. I'm also next year we'll keep records and maybe we can do like a show bet. There's one podcast I listen to. They call it the Race to the Case, where the winners got to get a beer bought to them. I don't drink.
7.5 makes it tough though.
Yeah, 7.5 does make it tough. We may drop that down a little bit. Those
aren't necessary. Maybe who we would prefer to pick first for upset picks for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and we may just next year just
That's
say,
tough.
hey, as long as they're underdogs, you can pick it. But shoot, if you want to pick somebody under 7, it's not. I mean, it's not the law. So
I know that. Oh shit, yeah. Man, I was looking at Florida though. How you said with Wag, if DJ plays, I could see that maybe being a really crazy upset with that spread.
Yeah, 22.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should do that next year. We should do like
Cover the spread.
Cover the spread. Whoever gets
Yeah, I think if Blagway plays, I'm not really a bet man, but I may consider
take plus 22 in Florida.
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
it's just going to depend on if he plays and if he's healthy.
I might. I'm gonna be looking at that one.
Yeah.
Is that the one you pick in season, or are you just not gonna pick one?
Yeah, that's the one I would have threw.
Oh, he locked it in. All right, I'm writing these down.
I like it.
Season goes Florida. All right. So anything anybody wants to say before we get off? I know Season has a show coming up tonight. We need to plug that, Season.
Thursday night football, man. We got a little sports bet and college football, a little show that we do with my boy Bet on JC. So coming up tonight. Thursday night football halftime. Man, we got a great Thursday night football game tonight, bro. The Bengals Ravens, dog.
Hey, I didn't know that.
Go down to the wire, dog.
Yep. Gonna go get the kids put to bed, grab some dinner, and get ready to.
Who you got, bro? You going Lamar or Joe?
Oh, I'm going Lamar.
Yeah, man, it's a good one, man.
Yeah, I'm going Lamar. I love Joe Burrow though, but I'm going Lamar. He's playing great this year. But all right, well, that's it for this week's preview show. We'll be back next Thursday. And then we'll also be back Sunday for our recap show, me and Season, and then Wednesday guest show, and then next week, Thursday, preview show. So thanks, everybody that listened, and please hit the subscribe and like button.
Don't let them sing the Rammer Jammer to you this weekend, Season. Bye, y'all.